Clever. Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the 10-7 MMA show. And we're already being called out for being late. So sorry about that. We're a few minutes late. That's my fault, not Justin's. I had a session that just ended a couple minutes late. But the more important thing to talk about is, guys, we are here. We are 2 days away. The presser, actually, I think the presser is happening now or at 5. I can't remember PST, but it's happening. And I cannot wait. There's so many fun things that we want to talk about. By the way, I was at the dog park yesterday and I was chatting with there's a buddy of mine at the dog park who's a massive MMA fan. He trains too. He trains jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai and everything. And he was like, one fight that we haven't talked about yet on 300. He's like, I can't even believe we didn't talk about it yet. And I'm like, which fight? Charles Oliveira versus Tsarukyan. And like, I even forgot for a second that it's on the card because this card is just so stacked. Dana White was on an interview with Stephen A. Smith today. And I listened to that interview. Stephen A., I mean, whatever. If you like him, you like him. If you don't, you don't. I don't really feel one way or the other about him. I remember he got a bunch of crap a while ago from Joe Rogan about trying to commentate on the sport but not really know it. So then he goes, it's so funny. He goes, yeah, so this is like a big card and everything, but how is this going to be bigger? Like, I think back to the most exciting one. Of course, anybody who's like a casual, all they talk about is Conor McGregor. So he's like, is it really going to be bigger than Conor Khabib? And it's like, yeah, okay, there was one huge fight on that card, but this is, and so that's what I could tell Dana White got a little annoyed. He's like, yeah, but this is different because the first fight, not on the prelims, the early prelims is a banger, right? Your boy, Cody Garbrandt, is fighting. I mean, it's just outrageous. So anyways, we got a lot of stuff to dive into today, and I'm just beyond excited. Unfortunately, Justin's not going to make it to my party, but we are going to be watching all the fights. All right, so let's jump into the mix. First of all, as I mentioned, Oliveira versus Tsarukyan. I wanted to do a deep dive into this fight with Justin today because this is, I mean, it's not like it's going under the radar. I don't want to position it that way. A lot of people are definitely talking about it, but it is going to be one of the best fights of the night. Could be the fight of the night, even over Justin Gaethje and Max Holloway. You never know. It really could be big. So, Justin, I wanted to turn over to you. First of all, tell me about, give me your kind of overview. Let's start with Charles Oliveira.
I mean, Charles Oliveira, at one point in the last couple of years, man, people were regarding him as one of the greatest lightweights of all time. If he really went in there and was able to win that fight with Islam, where do you put him on the great standpoint? Unfortunately, he didn't. So we have this is an incredible matchup. Now, I think Charles, I shouldn't say I think, I know Charles is known for his grappling. He can grapple off your back. He can play you in guard. Any position you want to grapple Charles, he's willing to concede to his back to let you on top. The one time it didn't work with Islam, but for the majority of the time it works. But let's talk about this guy's striking. Like, I think I think nobody's talking about how great of a technical striker this guy is. He's long. He has incredible reach. He has a great jab. He has a great cross. He has a great hook. I mean, if you don't believe me, ask Justin Gaethje. I mean, this striking. I mean, Justin,
That's
put
right.
him down a little bit, and it's like. But if I'm not mistaken, Oliveira knocked out Justin Gaethje. Or was it Poirier? I can't remember. It was one of those. It was one of the headliners at 155. Like, he was hurt early on. Was it Gaethje?
It was Gaethje, and then he finished him in round one. No, it was a submission. I'm sorry, it was a submission. He submitted him in round one, and actually submitted Dustin Poirier too on the ground.
Yeah,
Interesting.
and I think
but it was after a flurry of
yes.
strikes.
Yeah, it was after he hurt him, man. And that's one thing you can't count Oliveira out, man, is he's an incredible striker. He's very good. Now we look at the opposition on the other side. Tsarukyan, man, this guy is 9-1 in his last fight. In his last 10 fights, his one loss was to Gamrot by decision. Then he lost decision to, Islam Makhachev. This guy is a straight killer. But can he keep up with the grappling pace of Charles Oliveira? Do I think Tsarukyan has the striking advantage? I think he has a slight advantage. I think a lot of fans think that he has a huge advantage on the feet. I don't think it's a huge advantage. I reiterate, I think he has an advantage, but I don't think it's as big as people are thinking or giving Oliveira a chance on the feet. They really need to give this guy a chance on the feet. If it gets to the ground, I mean, Oliveira is just so good, man. I'd put him against anybody in the world. And again, people will be like, oh, well, he lost to Islam on the ground. It's like, all right, well, guess what? Even the best players, best fighters, best boxers, they don't always win at what they're best at sometimes.
True.
But Oliveira, hopefully he's remotivated. I'd love to see him back fighting for the title again. He's such an exciting fighter, and we're talking about finish rate. And I know you're looking at your computer right now, so tell me this
Yes.
guy's finish rate. He's
Hold on.
knocking guys out. He's submitting guys. Like, what else do you want out of this guy?
Hold on. I had it pulled up ready to go. So I was just waiting until you finish. All right, check this out. So, I mean, first of all, if you look at this record, I was looking at it yesterday. Basically, his last loss this is in 2017. Okay, I'm not counting Islam yet, but look, before losing to Islam, that was 7 years ago. Look at this streak. Boom. Look at the competition, Jim Miller, and then increasing.
Talk
And
about
then
the finishing. What about the finishes?
All the finishes. So how many decisions? I see one. I only see one decision. Yeah.
And who was it against? Tony Ferguson?
Yeah, because you just can't finish Tony.
Dude,
that should have been a
broke
finish.
His arm. His arm was inside out. Like, what else do you want? He's choking him. He's breaking his arm. Tony's just that dog that we all know and love. But besides that, this guy's a finishing machine. He went 7 years without a loss.
Look at these names too. Tony Ferguson. That Michael Chandler fight, he was injured. Michael had him kind of with his back against the wall, but he survived, which is one of his attributes. Survived, came back. I mean, actually, all these guys had him hurt.
Was it Michael Chandler? Did he knock Michael Chandler out? What does it say? You're looking at it right now.
Let me remember. I was trying to remember the actual fight. Broke the UFC record, most finishes. What does it say? TKO. Yeah, he knocked him out.
So I said Justin Gaethje, forgive me. But yeah, he got hurt early on. He came back with his striking, and from someone that's trained with Michael Chandler before, this guy is an explosive animal. He's in incredible shape. He's an athlete. Charles gets dropped, comes up, ends up knocking him out, TKOing him for the finish.
Western Mass Climber says Charlie by head kick. Could be.
Awesome. I would love to see that. I'm a huge Oliveira fan, and this is one of those fights that this could be a potential passing of the torch. I like to compare a lion pride a lot like MMA weight classes. You got your head lion, that's the champ, and you got all the other lions that are under him always fighting for that spot. And then you get that old lion that, gets knocked off like Charles Oliveira. Well, these other lions want to knock him off too. He still can, and I still think he will show why he's one of the best in the world and why he was the champ at one time.
Yeah, it's kind of like a King of the Hill situation, right? Everybody's kind of trying to come up, and you keep fending him off until you just can't do it anymore. Now, if we look, I'm just going to quickly pull up. I want to pull up Tsarukyan's record, and I also pulled up a highlight reel. I don't know if we'll be able to show it, but if we look at, by the way, have you listened to many of Tsarukyan's interviews?
I have not.
Dude, I think that guy, if you haven't had a chance, or for those of you guys listening and want to check him out, you guys got to listen to his interviews. Yeah, I think you'll really like him because he's got a very dry and sort of like funny sense of humor, especially if you get him talking about Bobby Green, because he hates Bobby Green so much because Bobby Green talks smack about him. And he had this one thing. So remember when Jalen Turner knocked out Bobby Green and it was like a terrible stoppage, but you defended the stoppage, right? You're like, I'd rather have a late stoppage than an early one. So, hey, give him a chance. I'm sure Bobby's not even mad. You were right. So Ariel interviewed Tsarukyan about that fight, and just like so dry, the humor. And he goes, yeah, what did you think about that finish? Was it a little bit late? He's like, no, I don't think it was too late. I think that it was okay. In fact, if I would have been ref, I would have let it go maybe like 5-6 more minutes. Just let him keep punching and hitting him break his face into the ground. That would have been better. And if I were to fight Bobby Green, we could do it, just not in an octagon. I'd prefer to go into a room with nobody in there. We lock the door and we fight to death, and only one man leave, and I'll leave, and I'll leave him in. Like, he just says it so matter of fact. He's so funny, dude. But anyways, check out some of his interviews. So look, his record is crazy too. Losing to Islam, that's like one of their few losses recently, and that was way back in the day, 2019. He said he wants that fight back. That'll be an amazing one if he does get it back. And as you mentioned, Gamrot, and then look at this win streak too, beating Beneil Dariush most recently, and Beneil was also beaten by Charles Oliveira most recently. So they're both coming off those. Oh, sorry, I heard some weird noise. Both coming off those recent victories. So I can't wait. I cannot wait to see this. Okay, do you have a prediction?
Man, I can't let go of my boy Oliveira, man. I just think his grappling is too good. I want to see what Charles Oliveira shows up. If it's the guy that showed up on that 7-year heater, I think he handles business on Saturday night. If he shows up like he did against Islam, I mean, he might get knocked out early. I mean, it's hard to make a prediction, but I'm going to say my heart says Oliveira. I want the old dog to win. The guy started off in a like I don't remember what his original UFC record was. I know he was on the verge of being cut, to going 7 years without a loss, to winning the championship, to losing the best pound for pound fighter in the world. And I really want to see his uprise again. This guy's just an incredible role model for the Brazilian community. I hear nothing but good things about him. I watch his videos about how he supports his community in Brazil and just stuff like that. It's hard for me to ever root against or say that I'd hope his opposition wins, because the more Oliveira wins, the better Brazil. Excuse me, I can't even talk today. The better Brazil gets taken care of.
For sure. So I'm gonna hold on 1 second. I'm hearing some weird noise. Give me 1 second.
Oh,
it's my
anyways, if anybody has any questions right now,
he's power washing. He's power washing outside. All right, I'm good. We don't have to go into where my head just went. But anyways, okay. So I'm gonna make a prediction. Even though I think Charles Oliveira is amazing, he's learning English. He's super fun to fight. I can't wait to watch him in the press conference today. But I'm thinking I'm actually going to lead towards Tsarukyan, and I'm going from the psychological element. I think anything could happen in this fight. I think that it could go easily either way. They're both so talented, and obviously the winner of this fight is going to come out in title contention, even if Gaethje wins, because I think it's going to be Gaethje's going to roll up next, possibly after Poirier, and then of course it's going to be Tsarukyan or Oliveira, whoever wins. That's my feeling. Everything's going to be so tightly like compacted together unless they choose to take another fight. But I'm going to go with Tsarukyan because of that confidence that I'm seeing in every single interview. He seems laser focused, ready to go. Not saying Oliveira doesn't have that same confidence, but this is just my feel. That's what I'm going with. Okay. Now I want to talk about Jiri Prochazka. I don't know if you saw his media day interview yesterday, but I gotta say, man, if you guys don't know about Jiri, you gotta watch more of his stuff. Jiri is amazing, and he's one of these guys that you might say, or other people might say, he's not that interesting on the mic because he doesn't talk smack. He doesn't get in there. But the thing about Jiri is, what I notice is he's very genuine. He'll really say what he feels. But at the same time, he's like so authentic and genuine that smack talking doesn't like make sense to him, if that makes sense, in a positive way. It's that samurai mentality. And Rakic was talking smack about him. And I gotta play you this clip. It's so crazy, dude. He gets so mad. Okay, hold on. And it's kind of like you just listen to him talking. You love the guy so much. You're like, no, don't talk smack about him. And then you kind of see his true nature come out. It's amazing. Hold on. I'm going to pull it up here for you guys. This was so amazing. I was watching this last night, and forgive me if I need a couple seconds to cue it up here.
So, but doesn't matter. Happen.
Here.
While the Reyes, right. For me, it's a next fight.
Did I lose sound here?
For me.
Oh, can you not hear the sound?
Yeah, I can't hear you.
Okay, hold on. So by the way, here's
I'm gonna close out and I'll be right back.
Okay, jump right back in. All right, so guys, you see the title right here. It says "Fake Samurai," right? So let's check
is not to be like the king of the world.
He's talking a lot. He also said,
okay, so here's the part.
To show that this Saturday. That's all.
You mentioned he's talking a lot. He also said, you're a fake samurai. You can't be a samurai just because you read a book your coach gave you. Are you surprised he's coming out with these words?
He said that here.
Yes, he did.
Hold on. We gotta get Justin back out. Hold on. I want him to hear his reaction. Okay, Justin, I got it queued up. Here we go. You ready?
All right, let's go. Yeah, send it.
Okay.
Let's go.
Hold on. Wait. This is amazing.
Coach gave you. So said, you're a fake samurai. You can't be a samurai just because you read a book your coach gave you. Are you surprised he's coming out with these words?
He said that here.
Yes, he did.
What he said?
He said he doesn't consider you a real samurai. You're a fake samurai. You can't be a real samurai just because your coach gave you a book to read. If you want to be a samurai, it can't just be for the last 2 or 3 years. It needs to be basically a lifetime of that sort of energy.
And what's the question?
I'm curious if you're surprised he's coming out with this sort of pre-fight trash talk, or if this was something you expected from him.
I understand. Alexander is talking too much. Like I said, he's talking too much. He don't know me, and he will know me in the cage, who I am, where I am able to go, how through I can go to take a win. And he don't know me personally. If you don't know somebody personally, how you can speak about him something, whatever. And I never said about myself, I'm a samurai or whatever. Yeah, because I'm respecting all the warriors from all the history, and I'm sharing with the people, with all the world, every time, the best ideas and best thoughts what I ever have, which helped me to improve myself on the way, to keep myself on the way. And you will like that. He don't know nothing about me, how I'm living. I can't say what I sacrificed, because I accept the way. And when you accept the way, you will live whenever, do whatever. That's it.
Yeah.
So he's talking shit.
Come on, dude. It's too good. It's too good. This is literally, this is why I watch the interviews. This is why I watch the pressers, because of gold moments like this. You get to see his true side come out. And he is, I think reasonably so, extremely perturbed at those statements, because that's not how he operates. And I understand that. He would never disrespect somebody else that way. And that's his code. You know, Chael Sonnen talks about a code. You always have to have a code, even if you're a villain, even if you're, you know more about this than I do, obviously, but being in the sport and being in the UFC, but like whatever it is, there has to be a line and there has to be a code. And that's his code. And that was violated. And maybe that might seem outrageous to people. Hey, you're in the fight game. You should accept it. You should talk smack, this and that. But that's not his code. That's not his way. And he's just sticking to it. And I don't know, man. It just makes me respect him so much. And you can see the authenticity and the anger, but like rightfully so. He feels disrespected. And to me, I don't know about you, but to me, if I could bet, I'm betting everything. I'm betting the house on Jiri. I think he's going to take it for sure. You hear that determination and that will, and he's ready to go. Anyways, turn it over to you, Justin. What are you, because you hadn't heard this yet. What are your reactions? Oh, wait, I can't hear you. I think you're muted. Hold on, let me unmute you. Did it work? There we go. Okay, let's hear it.
Yeah. When you were connecting the video, I kept losing sound and I had to restart the browser. But regardless, man, everybody has their code. Honestly, I come from the old school 90 WWE. I personally love shit talk. I love shit talking my opponent. I love when my opponent shit talks me. Really out of my 77 MMA fights, I only had really one or two that were ever really personal to me. Because it's a game, it's a sport entertainment. But when you're someone like Jiri, who lives by a code, and when someone says they live by a code, that means they just didn't wake up at 30 years old, and they were like, all right, I'm not going to talk shit anymore. This is my code. This guy has been doing this his whole life. Since he was a kid. I'm sure probably one of his mentors, his mother, his dad, an uncle, maybe his grandpa, somebody instilled this code on how to do things and how to do things the right way. Whether you agree with it or not, it doesn't matter. The way you were raised and the way I were raised were obviously, very different. The way he was raised to us was different. Everybody's different. That's the beautiful part about the UFC is you get fighters from all over the world. We're coming under one umbrella, and you get to watch all these fighters from different phases of life, different ages. You could be 20, you could be 40, you could be 30, you could be from Russia, you could be from the United States, you could be from Canada, you could be from all over the world, and you get to blend it all together and get to see different perspectives of life like Jiri, man. And I just have so much respect for him because you're right. He could take the other route and start talking shit back. But like you said, and like exactly what you said, that's not his code. That's not how he operates. And he's not going to change for anybody or anything. And there's nothing more, whether it's the way I like to do things or not, there's nothing more I respect than somebody saying, hey, this is my code. And no matter what, I'm sticking to this.
Heck yeah. I mean, I don't know if this makes you feel like this is not, I don't know if this was the intent, but this has now become one of the fights that I'm most excited to see. I mean, I'm not even joking. And that's why I love watching the interviews and getting into the personal side and hearing the stories, but I cannot wait for this fight. Now, another thing he mentioned, I don't know if you heard this, but he talked very briefly and he didn't want to get into it again because of his code, but he mentioned that his training camp against Pereira was terrible, that he basically got I don't know if it was an injury or he was sick because he won't go into it. He doesn't want to, but he did make the statement that he had about a week's worth of training for that fight. So that just, and he still looked pretty good in the fight until he got clipped. So to me, that just makes it even more exciting. I feel even more confident that he's going to pull off the victory. Does that mean something to you? And what are your thoughts when you hear a fighter kind of talk about something like that, especially somebody like Jiri, who you know is never going to lie?
Yeah, I don't think he's lying, but unfortunately, at the end of the day, very, very, very rarely do you ever have a full great fight camp, man. You're always going to get hurt. You're getting hurt in training. Fuck, I get hurt. I got hurt running down the street once. This is no joke. I was weak in my fight. I'm cutting weight. I'm running down railroad tracks like Rocky. I'm thinking I'm feeling good. I got Rocky playing in my headphones. I fucking step on a rock. The rock shifts. I roll my ankle. Now my ankle's swollen, and it's like, oh shit, I have to fight in fucking 5 days. Like, what am I gonna do? So you don't tell anybody but your coaches. And you tape it. I mean, it wasn't in the UFC, it was prior to the UFC, but you tell your coaches and you try to work around that. We got the weight cut. I got in there. Unfortunately, adrenaline took over and I was able to finish the fight relatively quick. But that happens, man. And I'm sure he's telling the truth. And I'd love to know what the injury was. Because if it's like, oh, my hand hurt, all right, well, that hinders his punching. Oh, my feet hurt, that hinders his kicking. Oh, I couldn't train because I had a neck injury or whatever it was. That could hurt his cardio. So I'd like to know what the undisclosed injury is. Actually, I don't really even care, because if he says he's injured, he's injured. Hopefully he can show up, to this fight uninjured. Hopefully he had a good, healthy camp, good recovery, and he can show the world how great of a fighter he really is.
I cannot wait. I am so excited for this fight. All right. Well, hopefully you guys get a chance to check out that full interview. He talks more about Rakic later on. And yeah, it's really fun to see him. And I don't know. I liked Jiri before. I really like him now. So let's go. All right. Last bit of news. And we're going to be doing a longer show tomorrow. But again, we're just trying to get in as much information as we can, because this card is just overflowing. Hopefully we'll do a long breakdown tomorrow. We're going to watch the weigh-ins in the morning, and then we're going to give you our thoughts based on that. But let's go to the final piece of news. It's actually not related to UFC 300, but we have to talk about it. It's your teammate. Now, I don't know if you heard this or if you talked to him or anything like this, but check out this story. This is the recent story, which is Sean Strickland has finally accepted a fight, and this is very exciting. However, it seems to be, oh God, what is this picture that they have? This is going to be, okay, well, sorry. It's kind of a weird picture. But anyways, Sean Strickland agrees to fight Paulo Costa at UFC 302. Okay, and I heard that this had been offered and he didn't really want to do it, but then he posted this. We had a meeting and I said, I don't want to be rich. I just want to be able to support a family after my career is done. And they were pretty supportive, made it happen. So I guess he got what he was looking for negotiation-wise in terms of the compensation. Boom. And it's on. First reaction, what are your thoughts on this matchup for UFC 302?
I never saw this matchup coming. This is not a matchup that even crossed my mind. I think it's a great matchup. It's for an exciting fight. Paulo Costa, very exciting, very explosive. I don't think he's going to try to wrestle Sean. I think he's going to try to knock his fucking head off. And I mean, we don't even have to talk about what Sean's going to do, because Sean doesn't change his game plan. He's the exact same. He has the exact same fight idea for no matter who his opponent is. He's going to do the same thing. So even if, like, this is a great fight, man. And Paulo Costa is so powerful and devastating. He only needs to land that one. And we've seen Sean get knocked out from one shot knockout power like Alex Pereira, so can he keep his hands up? He plays in that low left hand Philly shell. Costa has that beautiful overhand right. Can Sean stay out of the way with that and pick Costa apart for 3 to 5 rounds?
You saw the last fight, I assume, against Robert Whittaker and Paulo Costa. Paulo Costa looked amazing in that fight. And I think a lot of people thought maybe I don't know. Actually, I don't think he won the first round, but maybe he did. It was close. He had that amazing spinning back. I think it was like a back head kick that he landed. He wobbled Whittaker. Whittaker obviously came back at a really, really strong finish, but that was probably the second best fight on the card, if not the best, depending on who you ask. So that was amazing. This is going to be really exciting. I have a question for you, though, on this matchup. People seem to be, Jesse on Fire talked about this. People love Sean Strickland. Now, he's sort of been out of the mix since his last fight in January. It's been a while. He's not going to be fighting until July, but he ran a survey on his channel asking who they wanted to see headline UFC 300. And I don't know if you heard about this, Sean Strickland on his channel beat out Conor McGregor.
Oh, wow. I did not hear that. That's incredible. Actually, that's good for him.
Yeah, but like it's unprecedented. I don't think anybody else would beat out Conor except for Sean Strickland. So the only thing is that's weird about this is it's like the UFC has a truly massive star in their hands. And normally they would have done anything to get him to fight at UFC 300 or get him back to another rematch. I mean, I'm sure they could do that, but they're choosing not to. And I just don't understand. You know, I think we've talked about it a little bit, maybe some theories, but yes, don't you find, or do you find this kind of weird, or does this, like, what are your thoughts on this?
Because I know why. I don't find it weird. I understand that if you know, I got to mince words here because I know why. Sean's a liability, and you know, as much as outspoken as he is, and you know how great everyone loves it, a lot of people are getting sick of it, and there is a line you have to walk, and Dana White does give you a lot of room to be yourself, and Sean is himself, and I respect him, dude. Sean is a great guy, man. Like I see him every day sparring, training hard. When I get to the gym, he's usually getting there right after me because I coach early morning. He's coming in, then I leave, he's there, and then I come back in the evening. That motherfucker's still there, you know. But at the end of the day, you know, you there is a line to follow. And like I said, I'm going to reiterate, Dana White does give us a lot of room and a big platform to voice our opinion. But when it's always controversial and there's always, you know, it could be bad media, the whole Machine Gun Kelly thing. Like, I think it's hilarious. I love it. I say, take this guy out in the wild and let him do his thing because it's great. But at the end of the day, me and Sean have the same manager. And, you know, I fought for the UFC. He's, you know, former UFC champ. Like, you still have to, you know, like there's a lot of people offended by him. And, you know, with the culture these days, a lot of people are calling for action. They want, oh, you know, the UFC has to do something about Sean Strickland. The UFC, well, they don't. And I think that there's a lot of, and again, I'm really picking my words particularly, but I think there's just a lot of shade being thrown at Sean Strickland for some people. A lot of people don't like his views or the way he talks. And you know, a lot of people have come together to, you know, have him almost cut from the UFC, which will never happen, of course. But people are sick of it. So I think they're kind of like, what's the best term I could use? Cooling Sean off. They're letting him sit on the shelf for a little while. You know, cooling off his name because again, the more he's in the public eye right now, the more he's doing interviews, the more he's doing pressers, the more controversy is going to come up, and the more upset people are going to be.
Okay, and so maybe long term this could even benefit Sean. I don't know. I mean, it's just a weird situation because I don't remember ever seeing a situation like this where people were clamoring so much for a fighter and he's being shelved, as you put it. But anyways,
I mean, a lot of people aren't clamoring for him too. They're on the other end. Like this, I saw a post that Sean Strickland needs to be banned from the UFC. Sean Strickland needs to be cut from the UFC. Like I see these posts like all the time. Oh, Sean Strickland bashes gay reporter. For one, the guy wasn't even gay. So how can you say that? And you know, again, Sean is the guy that you're gonna get a viral video with. You're gonna ask him a question, you know, whether it's you or me or somebody else, and they're gonna get his answer on video, and then it's gonna go viral. So, you know, a lot of people, a lot of reporters especially, are prodding at him, knowing what his beliefs are, knowing what his thought process is. They're shooting these questions at him, knowing he's going to get a controversial response, hoping that their shit goes viral. And, you know, dude, I love Sean, man. It's a guy I look up to. Our lockers are right now. He's my locker buddy, man. We're right next to each other. Like we talk, he's a spear fisherman. I'm a spear fisherman. Like we relate so much. And, you know, it's just these people I think have tried to take advantage of his image. And I think the UFC is letting him cool off, or not cool off, as in like he was hot or anything. I mean, when I say cool off, I don't mean like he's mad and he needs to, you know, you understand what I'm saying when I mean cool off.
Like
kind of like put him.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Down.
Exactly. Let all the buzz settle down, and maybe in 6 months, all right, throw him back in. Because here's the thing: if Sean goes and loses to Paulo Costa, all those people that were rooting against him are going to be happy. The people that were his fans are going to, you know, when you lose fights, you lose fans, man. It's just the way, unfortunately, it's a shitty sport. So, I mean, the best thing, or the best thing for us, best thing for Sean, and like he goes out, he starts with Paulo Costa, and now we can throw him right back in, and all those people, you know, and he's going to gain more fans. But I don't know, man. I think I'm just rambling now, but I think it's good for Sean. I think keep him out of the eye for a little while, and then, you know, go fight Paulo Costa at 302 main event. I think that's man. I never even thought about that matchup. It's going to be a great fight, striking masterpiece.
It's a great fight.
and they're going to be talking shit. Sean is he's very funny. Paul Costa, Secret Juice, like this guy's super funny. I think it's going to be a great press conference. I think it's going to be a great fight buildup.
Yeah, true.
And at the end of the day, I think it's going to be a great fight because they're going to stand and bang. And there's not going to be any wrestling. Sean might start talking shit in there. Paul Costa is going to be talking shit. I think it's a great match, and I think the UFC is doing a great job by putting this together.
All right, well, there you go. I'm excited too. It's going to be a great matchup. Just a little weird because you come off a title shot and now you're fighting somebody who coming off a loss. But hey, whatever. As you mentioned, it's going to be amazing striking and amazing build up and whatnot. All right, we're going to close off here, but Western Mass Climber is getting on my case because he has a question for you, and I didn't post it yet. I said I would right at the end. So here's the question, Justin: would you accept a Tony Ferguson fight to get back into the UFC?
Western Mass Climber, I will fight my mother to get back in the UFC. I will knock her unconscious. I'll choke her out. I'll fight Tony Ferguson with one hand behind my back to get back to the UFC. Understanding I've put my whole life and emotion, financial situation into MMA, and I just felt my career was a little lackluster. I would sell my soul to the devil if I was guaranteed a spot back in the UFC. Unfortunately, I'm just getting old, man. I'd love to come back, fight Tony Ferguson, dude. What a fucking legend of the sport, and what an honor it would be. When me and Clay Guida had our after parties together in the UFC, man, I can't help it. He's a hunter. He's a fisherman. He has a podcast called Thrills and Gills. It's a fishing and hunting podcast. Like I told him, like, man, you're my dream fight, not because I think that I can go in there and beat you. Just be an honor to share the cage, and I'd feel the same way about Tony Ferguson.
Wow. All right. Well, there you go, Western Mass Climber. That's a definitive yes with a hand tied behind his back. So there you go. All right, guys, we got a wrap for today. So we just did a quick one. We're going to be back tomorrow with a really long one, and we're going to deep dive into this entire fight card. I'm going to be up early. Cannot wait to watch the weigh-in show. It's one of my favorite parts of fight week. And I mean, UFC 300, I don't know. It's just going to be incredible. So guys, buckle up.
Hold on. I got one thing to say. One thing to say, guys. This is not about UFC 300, but my guy, one of my good friends and good training partners, Mads Burnell, Bellator. He's ranked third in Bellator. He crossed over to the PFL. He has his PFL debut tomorrow. He's fighting for the 155 or the 155 lightweight tournament. Keep your eyes on him, guys. Tomorrow he's looking sharp. I was one of his main training partners through this whole camp. If you guys want to make some money, go bet Mads Burnell right now. There
you have it. All right. So make that bet and check out that fight. And guys, we will see you tomorrow at our regular time, 1:30. I don't know how long the show is going to go because we have a million things to talk about. It's going to be a long one, and it's going to be a good one. Thank you guys so much for joining, and we will see you in the next episode. Take it easy.